The Hungarian braided chain stitch is a variation on the heavy chain stitch, which, if you remember, is based on the reverse chain stitch. So we're going to start just like we do the reverse chain stitch. Remember, we're starting at the top of the chain with the reverse. We come up a stitch length down from the top, take our needle back down in the same hole where we came up, bring the needle up at the top of the line. Thread is under the needle, so this is just basically a lazy daisy to start, or a detached chain, and a tack stitch. And if you want to make the tack stitch just a little bit longer, you can do that, because we will be going under it again. We are going to come up on the line a stitch length down from where we were, bring the thread out, and now we want to take our needle under that tack stitch, wrap it around, and back down in the same hole. So far, we're the same as the heavy chain. Now this is where it's going to change. We're going to come up one stitch length down on our line. And with the heavy chain, we went under both of those chains, but with the Hungarian braided chain, we only want to go under the chain stitch that was 2 stitches back, not the one we just made, the one before that. And we don't want to catch the thread, so we're going over the last chain we made and under the one before that. Pull the thread through and go back down in the same hole. Now we're going to come up a stitch length down, and we're going to go under the bottom part, not our last chain, the one before that, so 2 back. So again, my needle is over the chain that I just made and under the one before that, and pull through and back down on the line. Then we come back up a stitch length down, and we don't want to go under the last chain we made. We want to go under the bottom part of the one before that. So there it is. And pull through and down. Now probably the hardest part about this is being able to see where that last chain was. So if you want to, the chain you're working on, don't pull it up all the way, leave it loose. Come up a stitch length down, and we can really see where the previous chain was. This is the one that we haven't quite finished. Just take your needle under that previous chain, leave your needle sitting under it, and now pull up your thread for the last chain and pull through. Back down in the same, well, you don't want to pull through tight if we're going to keep doing this. Back down in the same hole. Up a stitch length down on the line. And needle under that chain that's laying flat. It's going over the one that we haven't quite finished. Now you can pull up the one that isn't quite finished. Then pull the needle on through, not all the way, down into the same hole where we came up on the line. Go down a stitch length on the line, pull up, go under that chain that was 2 back, and now we can pull up our last chain. Pull most of the way through, just leave it a little loose. And that makes it so it's a little bit easier to see the previous chain rather than trying to find it without splitting your threads. We're going back down in the same hole, coming up on this line, a stitch length down, and needle under the bottom part of the chain stitch from 2 back, and we don't want to pierce the thread or the fabric. Pull that last one up and pull through. Not all the way. Down in the same hole, up a stitch length down on the line, and under this chain and over the one that's not quite finished, pull it up, pull through, not all the way tight, and up a stitch length down on the line under that chain, pull the last stitch up that we hadn't finished completely. Whoops, leave this one a little loose. Down, up a stitch length, pull through. Now we can pull this stitch up. And when we are ready to finish, if we just stop right there, it doesn't look quite the same. So if you bring your needle back up on the right side underneath our last stitch to the side, we're going to come up. We're going to go under the chain that was 2 before, go through, and then take our needle back down kind of under the thread on the left side and knot off. So this one was a size 5 pearl cotton, this was a size 8, and if we compare it to the heavy chain, which is right here from last month, there is definitely a difference. This one's a little bit fancier, so